I've been watching the events unfolding in Minneapolis and St. Paul and so many cities across the United States of America. I went from binge watching on Netflix and Tiger King and Outer Banks and Ozark and all the things pandemic to something more frightening and, to be sure, totally and completely real. In all my years of being a pastor in Farmington and Shoreview and Eagan and now Eden Prairie, I have led churches through a few theological scuffles. They seemed really important and vital at the time, and they were in retrospect, I guess. But vital? No. I try to watch as many press conferences as I can during this trying and deeply emotional time. I look to leaders to see what he, she, they have been called to do. A partial list would include the president and lawmakers and mayors and police officers and other elected officials. Even though I may not always agree with what they have to say, what they choose to work on or enact, it is good to know what they are thinking. The other day, President Trump held a press conference, and I watched with the sole expectation that he would address the terrible killing of George Floyd and the subsequent unrest here and all across the nation. I did learn that the United States will no longer support the WHO, and there will be definite changes as it pertains to China and Hong Kong. In all candor, I was surprised and shocked that the killing of George Floyd was not what he talked about first. I was even more dismayed when he left the podium without saying one word about what really needs to be talked about and addressed head on. Now, the president can do what the president wants to do, but I want to learn from that. I think we are at a moment of reckoning. Among other things, reckoning is appraisal and accounting for things received or done. It's a judgment. My friends in Christ, things like this don't come out of nowhere. They just don't happen for no reason and no cause. To be sure, what we're dealing with right now is about the killing of George Floyd. As I watch the video, and it happens all the time, it makes me sick to my stomach. Yet as I listen, I hear that this is not only about George. There is an unfairness to the people of color that needs to stop. That is what I'm hearing when I stop to listen to the stories of people who are not like me. And as I begin to frame my own thinking, which is far from over, by the way, I realize that the tragedy of George Floyd is endemic of a much larger issue that extends well beyond the legal system and those who are called to protect and serve. Just recently, Christian Cooper wanted to go birdwatch in Central Park. There is, I understand, a great place to birdwatch in Central Park. A white woman by the name of Amy Cooper is walking her dog without a leash, although there is a sign that clearly reads, "Dogs must be on a leash." A man by the name of Christian asked the woman nicely to put the dog on the leash. She immediately calls 911 and says that an African-American man is going to assault her. Actually, no. Christian asked you to nicely put your dog on the leash, and he's taping you, and he's doing something that is completely right, and you are doing something completely racist. She lost her job. She's received death threats. But Christian has pleaded not to heap hate on this woman and has said he forgives her. There was a killing of Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia 2 months ago. I don't know all the facts. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a pastor. But I know that I'm smart enough. I'm astute enough to believe that I think that Ahmaud was likely killed because of the color of his skin. Hopefully the truth will be revealed in the trial. But things are not fair and equal. That is what I'm hearing. Yes, there are individual groups of people who have other agendas, and they harm people and further their cause of hate and derision and stealing, but loud and clear, the vast majority of people are saying it's really, really, really hard to be a person of color in this nation. I think now is the time for us to listen. Listen to the stories of pain and anguish. I do not think that these are actually new stories. Yet as I know from my own life, as I walk with countless people and their suffering and pain and grief, people rarely, if ever, grow outside of hardship. Clearly, as a community, as a nation going through hardship, we need to learn something. We need to listen. It's my hope and prayer that we go through this hardship together as a congregation. St. Andrew Lutheran Church, our mission statement is living out our faith in daily life. Our faith in Jesus tells us that all people are the children of God. All people are precious in the eyes of God. And as the hands and feet of Jesus, we are to adhere and bring to fruition these words of promise and hope. Learn to do good. Seek justice, correct oppression, Isaiah 1:17. What does the Lord require of you but to do justice and love kindness and to walk humbly with God? Micah 6:8. Love your neighbor as yourself. Mark 12:31. I also want us to be people of prayer, and I know what has been said about thoughts and prayers. But I do think thoughts and prayers is a good place, a right place for us to start. And so we will pray without ceasing for peace and justice and reconciliation, the building of something new and better, as we strive to live in greater harmony and equity. But we are also called to do something new. Do something actually and do many things that will create a more peaceful and just world for all people. We are currently thinking of ways that as a congregation we can help those who live in the most affected areas. We want them to know that they have our support and our care and our love. To be sure, there are some short-term needs like food and cleanup and rebuilding, etc. All of that is important and necessary. Yet there are needs that are even greater and even more important that need to be addressed and changed for the better. Your pastors have already started to have conversations with clergy who lead congregations in the heart of Minneapolis. We want to make sure that we listen to what they really need and desire. Then, with the help of God and your faithful support, we will walk with them and beside them. Our goal is not to get past this moment, but I think our goal should be to grow and to change and to do better, to listen, to learn things that right now we don't even know. We are, by the way, a people of hope. We believe in great and miraculous things. We know that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. This is a very concerning time, to be sure, but we do have a choice to make. We can all be part of the solution. And we begin by remembering and honoring the life and the death of George Floyd. So help us God. Be well, take care. Go in peace. Serve the Lord. Amen.